that microphone over there on her desk and turn it on, please. All right, we have two matters before the court. The first is an ex parte restraining order, and that is set for hearing today. The other is the order of protection that was obtained after the entry of that ex parte restraining order. The restraining order was filed February the 20th of 2024. The ex parte restraining order was obtained on February 23rd of 2024. And we will hear the restraining order first, and then we'll hear the order of protection. All of that seems to me to be fair game to hear it all at once. So you want to begin, since you are the moving party on the initial matter, Mr. Hawley?
Yes, sir. If I could address the court briefly, we have filed some things, and in these things is also a petition for contempt.
Is what? Is
a petition for contempt, as criminal contempt. And Mrs. Valdez may want to be instructed about her right not to self-incriminate herself at that point, or however the court wishes to do that. I want to bring that to the court's attention.
We're not hearing the criminal contempt today, but I will certainly advise her of the fact that if she is charged with criminal contempt, then her testifying about some of these matters could potentially incriminate herself in that criminal contempt.
The facts are very much intertwined.
Ms. Valdez, the matters that are before the court today are the ex parte restraining order, and then there's a pending petition for criminal contempt against you that has been filed. I need to advise you that if you are charged with criminal contempt, then the punishment that would be inflicted upon anyone found in criminal contempt is a possible fine or a possible incarceration of 10 days in the county jail for each violation of the court's orders. Anyone who is charged with criminal contempt has the rights of any other criminal defendant, that you have the right to be presumed to be innocent. You have the right to remain silent. You cannot be compelled to give evidence against yourself, and you potentially have the right to an attorney. And if you cannot afford an attorney, one could be potentially appointed for you on the criminal contempt. We are not dealing with the criminal contempt motion because you have 30 days to file an answer to that, so it's not ripe for hearing. But this motion for restraining order, Mr. Hawley points out, contains many of the same allegations as the criminal contempt motion. Therefore, if you testify about those matters, you could potentially be giving evidence that could incriminate you in the criminal contempt motion. So you have the right to, basically, and one of the rights you have is the right to obtain counsel. Are you wanting to obtain counsel? I know you said you could not afford. Are you employed?
Yes, I'm employed.
All right. Are you asking for me to appoint an attorney on the criminal contempt citation?
Yes, and forgive me, I'm confused. You said I had 30 days from now?
You do.
Okay.
Well, from the date you were served.
Okay, I was not aware of that, but I did contact my former lawyer, Donna Tees, to represent me in this matter. Unfortunately, she needed a new retainer. That's why I couldn't afford it. But she did not know that it was a criminal case, for lack of better words. And so she told me that I could not have free representation, basically. I would have to lawyer it. But if I can, that would be wonderful.
Well, you can only have it on the motion, on the criminal contempt motion. Yes. This hearing today is about whether or not that ex parte restraining order should be extended, or whether it should be dissolved, and whether or not the ex parte order of protection that you obtained against Mr. Valdez should be extended or dissolved. Those are the only two issues. So what I would simply observe is that because of the nature of the criminal contempt and the intertwining of those facts and evidences, then you may need to consult an attorney before you go further in the case. Do you intend to contact your former attorney and to discuss it with her, or are you wanting, if you want to obtain an attorney appointed for you, then I'm going to have you fill out an affidavit of income and expenses for me to determine whether you are qualified or whether you qualify to have appointed counsel as any other criminal defendant. You understand that?
Yes, sir, I do. And forgive me, you saying that jogs my memory on the latest conversation I had with Ms. Donna Tees. She's very well acquainted with my annual income. And in her professional opinion, she does not think that I would qualify for representation.
So you don't think you would qualify since you are employed, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then, under the circumstances, you understand that at any point during this proceeding today, you have the right to simply invoke your rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to say, I decline to answer that question on the ground. Then we are ready to proceed on this motion for the restraining order, Mr. Hawley. That will be the issue that I'll consider today first. Then we'll move to the order of protection. So, do you have any witnesses that you intend to call other than your parties?
Well, I do, Judge. One is the officer, and I'd like to call her a little out of order, the officer back here that works nights, and I would like to go ahead and.
All right, well, let's call her out of order then.
This would be Miss Jennifer Resendez. I'm saying that right. Resendez? Tiffany.
Go step around, please.
Resendez. Instead of a Z, it's an S?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. What happens when we hurry up and subpoena folks? All right, if you would state your name for the court, please.
Tiffany Resendez.
Now, you move that microphone away from you. I'm going to ask you to move it towards you because
I'm loud, so that's why I did
all
that.
right. You can be as loud as you want to be, just don't be soft.
And Mr. Resendez, where are you employed?
I'm sorry.
Where are you employed?
The town of Kingston Springs Police Department.
All right, and how long have you been working there?
May will be 4 years.
Okay. And in your 4 years working with the police department, have you had opportunities to go out on domestic calls?
Many.
What would you say your experience would be in handling domestic calls and going to people's houses for, issues that you're called out on domestic?
Very experienced.
Okay. Was this your first job with Kingston City?
No.
Okay. Where did you work before that?
Ashland City Police Department.
Okay. How many years have you been in law enforcement?
Since 2019.
Okay. So in your duties as the Kingston Springs Police Department, did you have an opportunity to go to 318, I believe it is, Maple Street in Kingston Springs?
Yes.
And that would be the home, as you knew it, of Miss Leah Valdez, is that correct?
Yes.
And you went there on February, I believe it is 16th and 17th, that Friday and Saturday, is that accurate?
Yes.
And can you describe to the court, what kind of call you got that brought you out there?
Sure. Mr. Valdez had called the Cheatham County Dispatch Center on both of those dates asking for a welfare check to be completed on his 3 minor children. I was dispatched to the 318 Maple Street to see if I could make contact with anybody there. The Friday night I went out there. It's standard procedure that when we go there, we log any vehicles that are parked in front of the address. I did go ahead and make note of the 2 vehicles that were parked in front of the address. One came back registered to Ms. Valdez. One came back registered to somebody that was not either your client or Ms. Valdez. It was a van that was registered out of Indiana. I went up to the residence, knocked on the door several times, no answer. I did not hear any voices, juveniles or otherwise. There was a hallway light on that you could see through the glass window in the front door. No contact was made. I advised dispatch no contact was made, and I went back in service. I gave Mr. Valdez a public service afterwards to advise him that no contact was made. The second welfare check that I did the night after, same circumstances, logged the 2 same vehicles. They were parked in the same positions as they were the night before. This time, when I approached the front porch area, an immediate odor of what seemed to be marijuana, which was very strong, was immediately noticed upon entering the porch area. I did note a male and female voice that I could hear It didn't sound like it was coming from inside the residence. It kind of sounded like it was coming from either a back porch or maybe a basement area. I stood there for a couple of seconds to see if I could hear what they were saying, but you could not hear what they were saying. No juvenile voices were noted. I knocked on the door several times, no answer. Knocked on the door again, louder, no answer, again louder with my quote unquote mommy knock, no answer again. I called dispatch at that time and specifically requested that they make a special note in the CAD, which is our CAD report that dispatch does, to make a note that the odor of marijuana, or what seemed to be marijuana, was specifically strong when I entered the porch area, and that no contact was made.
And could you describe kindly how you knocked during those occasions?
Do you want me to knock, or do you?
Well, you talked about a certain type of knock. Can you describe it? Eventually, how loud did you knock?
Sure. So the second time that I went there, when I heard the voices, there is a storm door that has a storm window, top and bottom. The storm door was not closed all the way. So I eventually, when I first knocked, it was just a regular knock. Then I noticed that the storm door was open, so I opened the storm door. When I knocked on the regular door, I knocked a regular knock because I didn't want to wake the children if they were sleeping. It was around 11:30 at night, and I know that they're juveniles, so if somebody's in the house and I don't need to wake the children, I'm not going to. Noting that I had heard male and female adult voice, I knocked harder, and it wasn't a knock to where, hey, I'm going to enter the house, but it was definitely a knock to let somebody know, hey, I'm here. But no contact was made.
In your opinion, professional opinion, was there any way that someone could have been in that house and not heard that loud knock?
The only way that I would think that they would not hear it is in the house if they were in maybe a basement and all doors were closed and music was playing. But if they were reasonably around the same area as the front door, they would have heard the knock, only because I did not hear any music and I could hear the voices.
Okay. Judge, if I could borrow the screen just for a moment, I have a photograph I'd like to put up there. I'm already plugged in. Resendez, when it comes up, I'm going to show you a photograph and ask if you recognize that photograph. So, Ms. Officer Resendez, I'm sorry, can you describe, if you will, well, first of all, do you recognize this photograph?
I've never seen the photograph before, but I recognize the house, the white car, and the gold van in the far.
When you described earlier the home and Mrs. Valdez's car and the van behind it, is this a fair depiction of what you have
Yes.
testified to?
Yes.
Okay. And the van in the back came back to what individual?
Is it okay if I reference them? So when I ran the license plate, it was actually an Indiana license plate, handicap license plate. I actually ran the VIN as well, just to make sure that the license plate matched the VIN number on the van. It came back to a 2004 GMC golden color vehicle registered to a Jennifer Kramer. I don't know who that is, but that's who the vehicle's registered to.
Do you believe her to have any relation to Mr. Christopher Wilden?
I can't testify as to who I heard this from, but I do remember somebody advising me that that was maybe his mother. I'm not sure if that's accurate though.
Were there any distinguishing markings on the back of the van?
Yes, there's 2, maybe 3 very distinguishable bumper stickers on the back.
Can you explain to the court, testify to the court what they said, and you can abbreviate if you'd like.
Sure. I remember 2. One, I do not remember what it said. On the driver's side bumper, it was a bumper sticker that was sexual in nature. I can't remember what it said. On the passenger side bumper, there was a bumper sticker that said free blow.
Did you find the bumper stickers on the back of the car to be kind of uncharacteristic from a disabled lady in Indiana to have on the back of her van?
I can't testify to that. Everybody's got their own.
I understand. You're familiar with Lindsay Palazzi?
She is the wife of another officer that works for Kingston Springs.
Okay, and she lives across the street from?
I'm not sure of her address, but she lives across the street from there. I'm not sure which house though, yeah.
Okay, and you've communicated with her. Can you testify as to whether or not she is familiar with today's proceedings?
I'm sure she is.
Did she ever testify to you that?
Holly, in fairness to Mrs. Valdez, even though she's not represented by counsel, I'm not going to allow you to introduce a bunch of hearsay that she doesn't know that she can object to. It seems to me that it would be inadmissible hearsay for her, for this officer who's doing a great job of testifying, to quote what somebody else is telling her. So she has some exception to the hearsay.
I don't feel comfortable testifying to third party.
Well, if I may address the court, it's non-hearsay. It's not offered for the truth of the matter asserted. We have subpoenaed, and the court will see in the record, this lady to testify today. I've offered her a Zoom link. I don't know if she's on Zoom. My understanding was she just wasn't going to be here today. And later on, when Mr. Valdez testifies, I connect some of this up. I'm going to ask for an 804 exception as to declaring is unavailable. We've done everything we could do to try to subpoena this lady to be here today, and I'll just leave it at that. So
I'm not going to require this officer, who obviously is very conscientious, to testify about what somebody else said to her. So
Can I make one comment?
certainly.
I will say that Ms. Palazzi is out of town at a conference, and the person that accepted the subpoena on her behalf is my sergeant. She is not employed by the town of Kingston Springs whatsoever. I'm not
That
sure.
answers the question why she's not with us.
well, we knew all of that, but she was aware of the subpoena. And I just think it adds to the 804 exception, a little bit, but that's fine. That's all I have.
Now, officer, if you'll wait just a moment. Ms. Valdez, you are now acting as your own lawyer at this purpose of this hearing. You have the right to ask questions. As you know, you cannot make a statement or argue with a witness, but you can ask a question. Do you wish to ask any questions?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Then thank you, officer. You may stand down and you're released from your subpoena. You may go, I assume you may go home and go to bed.
Thank you, Judge.
For the record, you're Vincent Russell Valdez, is that correct?
Yes.
And you are recently divorced from Leah Valdez, correct?
Yes.
And that divorce was finalized by this court on the 15th day of February of this year, correct?
Yes.
And you have 3 children, correct?
Yes.
And for the record again, what ages are the children?
2, 6, and 8.
Okay. And in your divorce decree, was there to be any contact with Christopher Wilder?
No. There was Leah signed that there would be a no contact with Christopher Wilden or Christopher Draper. I think he has a third name now too, though.
And the divorce decree that we submitted to the court was an agreed divorce decree, correct?
Yes.
It's something that the two of you came together in mediation and agreed to, correct?
Yes.
And both of you signed same and presented to the court, and the court has approved it, correct?
Yes.
And the no contact with Mr. Wilden was actually carried over from a hearing where the judge ordered no contact, is that correct?
Yes. Judge Wolf.
And based on that, when was the first visitation for your ex-wife?
After the 15th?
Mm-hmm.
It was the following day, the 16th. In our divorce decree, I have me and the children are moving down to Texas to be around family, to be around a support system. Now that I have primary custody of the kids, and until I move to Texas, Leah has every other weekend with them, and then every other Wednesday that she doesn't have that weekend. So that was she was going to have them on the 16th through the Sunday after.
Okay. And on Friday the 16th, let's start there. Did you have some concerns about Mr. Wilden being at the home,
Yes.
where did they generate from? And you can't say what somebody told you, but as far as what your concerns were, you can testify to that, and basically how you knew. About the
Well,
concerns.
it was from two main concerns. One was my oldest son. He described hearing them have sex, and then the other was from a neighbor that reached out to me on social media to let me know kind of what was going on.
And what was the name of that neighbor?
Lindsay, I forgot her last name, Palazzi or Polipsy or something like that.
Okay. And did you attempt to subpoena Ms. Palazzi, I'll pronounce it that way, today?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever provide her through email with a Zoom link?
Yes.
Have you had communications with Ms. Palazzi about the court hearing today and the subpoena?
Yes.
And what has she told you about appearing today?
That she was out of town and that she's really doesn't want to get her name involved because she lives across the street from Leah, and she's concerned about getting harassed by Leah and her boyfriend.
She did tell you she was out of town today, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in the course of that, has she sent you, or have y'all communicated via text?
Yes. It was her. The communication started on social media. A close friend of mine started a GoFundMe for me and my children to cover the expenses of moving to Texas, and she found that and reached out to me on social media and was just congratulating and saying that, you know, she was happy and then that me and the kids need to get as far away from this situation as possible.
Were you there, or did you go with the officer for the welfare check on that Friday, the 16th?
No.
Did the officer communicate with you later about what she saw and observed on the 16th?
Yes.
And what she saw and observed as well on the 17th, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And was that accurate, that description, what she told you on the 16th and 17th, was that accurate from her testimony here today?
Yes.
Now, when you picked the children up, did you ask Mrs. Valdez about what had transpired that weekend with Mr. Wilden and the children?
Yes, I did eventually. The first thing I noticed is my son's hair was cut and he had designs on the side of his head, which wasn't a big fan of because it's against the dress code of the school he goes to now, as well as the public school I've registered him in Texas. But without even, as soon as the kids walked in the door, shut the door, my son said, "Christopher Draper cut my hair." And so I immediately walked outside, asked Leah, I'm like, "Hey, was your boyfriend around the kids?" And she said yes. Believe she said, I said, "You know, do you not realize that you're in contempt of court by doing that?" And her words, I believe, was, "I don't give a shit." She's like, "You know, no judge is going to send me to jail, so, you know, a mother to jail. So, you know, there's nothing, you know, go take me to court. You can use that GoFundMe money to take me to court." Kind of just throwing it in my face, you know, about everything.
If I could, Judge, I would like to plug in. And did you record some of that?
I did.
Some of that discussion?
Yes.
I want to play a recording for you and ask you if you recognize this as that recording.
This is audio only.
Audio only, yes, sir. Let's see, I'm not 100%.
Mommy, I need that. Christopher Draper gave me this haircut.
I want to talk to you about that. Hey. First thing River says when I walk in the house is Christopher Draper gave me that haircut.
Yeah, he did.
So you're just going to violate the court orders?
I mean, honestly, Vince, I don't really give a shit. You're going to Texas, and He's gonna be in their lives one way or another.
Yeah, but you wrote for a year, Leah.
Huh?
You wrote that he wouldn't be around them for a
Well, then
year.
lawyer up, take him back to court, but you're going back to Texas, and it's gonna be very expensive for you, and that GoFundMe is all gonna go towards that.
You realize that means like jail time for you, right?
If the judge deems that, you can push for that, just like you did months ago, but the judge still has to sign off on that. And no judge is gonna put a mom in jail because she's letting her kids around her future husband.
I'll see you in court then.
All right, bye.
Was that a fair and accurate depiction of the recording of your conversation?
Yes.
And she said that he's going to be back in their lives one way or another. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
What concern does that cause you?
Well, my concern is, I mean, we settled everything in mediation, and my point in mediation was to protect my children, and because Leo's willing to sign that her boyfriend would not be around the kids, that's why I signed off on the mediation. I didn't think that she would so blatantly, be in contempt of what she's signed, especially a day after it's been signed, our divorce decree. She will, right now she has, until I move to Texas, which is next week, she has every other weekend with the kids. And then this summer she'll get 2 consecutive weeks of visitation with them. And she's made it clear that the kids were going to be around this guy. And, what was the point of signing any of this stuff if you're just going to, not regard any of it?
Are you concerned about, you heard the testimony last time that they were, I think, drinking pretty much every afternoon together.
Yeah.
That they were using mushrooms together.
Yes.
You heard the testimony that Mr. Wilden said he wasn't going to stop using mushrooms, I believe.
Yes. Well, also in our divorce decree, Leah also signed that she would not be getting intoxicated while she has the kids, or taking any kind of illegal substances. Now, there's obviously the police officer did say that she smelled marijuana on the premises. As a parent, I don't love that, especially when you signed that you wouldn't be doing anything, especially, Leah has the kids 2 days, like every 10 days. Another thing that upsets me about this is the children should be your priority. You got 2 days to be with them. If I had only 2 days to see my children, I wouldn't be putting them to bed and hang out with my girlfriend if I had one. And it would be movie night. It would be, hey, I'll see you in 2 days. This is my time with my children. And that doesn't seem to be a priority to Leah.
And again, if we need to get into the hearsay exception, I can, but did Mrs. Palazzi ever discuss with you other situations over at the home, as far as the Valdez home over there, as far as being loud and being able to hear certain things?
What she described to me was, there's 2 things that was disturbing that she described to me. The first one, actually, I'll list the thing that's more disturbing to me is that she said the first red flag that she had with Leah was that when Leah first moved into the neighborhood, she asked her to watch the kids. And she said, no, I don't even know you. And then apparently Leah proceeded to get someone else to watch the kids. To be asking people you don't know to watch your children is not something that I don't think any parent would want. I don't think people just hire like a babysitter on Craigslist or something like that. Like, that's not something you should do. That's in their best safety. The second thing she said was that basically the whole neighborhood is kind of up in arms because Leah and her boyfriend will have such louds that the entire neighborhood cannot hear it. Believe the mayor lives right next door, is very upset about it as well. There's some kind of BDSM stuff going on. Leah does wear a dog collar with a ring on it consistently. But the more concerning thing to me is getting people you don't know to watch our kids.
Has her mother expressed these concerns as well to you?
Yes. We filed this restraining order, and then, conveniently 2 days later, Leah files an order of protection against me and her mother. And so, yeah, there's definitely, some concerns there as well.
Are you asking the court today for some supervised visitation for Ms. Valdez, at least until we can hear this final petition and be somewhat relieved that Mr. Wilden is not going to be there and she's going to follow the orders of the court?
Yes.
And right now she can't remove the kids from your care, but you're okay with supervised visits as far as Ms. Valdez goes, just as long as Mr. Wilden is anywhere around?
Yes.
And do you feel comfortable that she's going to adhere to the court order based on what you've experienced just in the first weekend of visitation?
No, I mean, she's made it blatantly clear that she doesn't care about any court orders. I mean, Leah's voice can testify for itself that she doesn't care about it.
That's all I have.
Ms. Valdez, you're again acting as your own attorney. You have the right to ask questions. Do you want to ask questions? You're going to be able to testify if you want. Do you have any questions you want to ask him?
Yes, sir, I do. Do I come up there?
Come to the podium, yeah.
In your words, you say that I do not care about following court orders.
Mm-hmm.
But is it true that mere days after the September 23rd trial, when it was court mandated by Judge Wolf himself to stay away from Giggles and Glam operating the business, that you yourself inserted yourself into the business against his orders and were actually the reason why the business went under? I was sued from it. You yourself actually retained the $4,000 rent deposit. I have a business litigation lawyer that's willing to testify to that fact.
You're not asking a question, you're making a statement.
You're right. I apologize, sir. I'm new to this, obviously.
Judge, if I could lodge an objection, that has nothing to do with our restraining order. It was pre-divorce final decree of February the 15th, and I believe that's some of the allegations that's in our order of protection that we're supposed to take up after this.
And the instance you're talking about was while this case was pending, correct? You're talking about something that happened while the case was pending before the final decree.
I'm confused as to what you're asking, but the question I'm asking is, he's saying that I am in contempt of any orders that you give.
I'm going to overrule the objection.
Yes, sir.
She's trying to demonstrate that while he may say she hasn't followed a court order and doesn't intend to, she's trying to demonstrate that in the past he may not have shown an inclination to follow a court order.
No, that is not true.
All right. Do what?
I said, I was answering her question that it was not true what she's stating.
All right, well, that's all I have, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Valdez, you may.
Unless Ms. Palazzi happened to show up on Zoom, Judge, that's all I have. I don't think she had.
Have someone in the waiting room. We'll bring them in and see if that's who you're talking about.
That's the franchise owner for Giggles and Glam that eventually took the whole franchise back. She's here for the order of protection testimony, if we get into that.
All right.
So.
Put it back in the waiting room. All right. Do you want to testify in this case regarding this motion for a restraining order?
Is this my chance to rebuttal? And
Yes.
yes, sir, I would.
Then come around. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Well, first of all, let's take our mid-morning recess. We'll be in recess. Ms. Valdez, it's your opportunity if you wish. You have something, Mr. Honan?
Judge, if I can address the court, you've already admonished her, already described to her about her right not to self-incriminate herself, but having been here before, I would ask the court just to maybe refresh that to her so that she fully understands that.
Ms. Valdez, you and I had a conversation a little bit ago in which I wanted to make sure that you understood your rights, and I'm just going to advise you again. You are charged with criminal contempt for violation of a court order in your final decree. Your final decree, says the following. The mother shall, and I'm looking at page 3 of that final decree and a parenting plan on page 3 under subsection J, other, and it states the following. The mother shall not allow the minor children to have contact with Christopher Ryan Wilden, also known as Christopher Draper, the mother's paramour, and Mr. Wilden shall not be present on the residence premises of the mother during her visitation with the minor children. Number 4, neither party shall consume alcohol in excess. Number 5, the mother shall not consume any illegal and/or herbs that might be and are considered to be illegal. That's the part of this motion and the contempt citation that you've been cited into court. So I need to make sure that you understand that you have a right not to incriminate yourself. You have the right to simply say, I decline to answer questions because under my Fifth Amendment right. So before you start testifying, just understand that anything that you testify about, any of those allegations that are made in that motion on those issues could be potentially used against you in that criminal contempt citation. But I will be glad, now that you've been admonished on those rights, I'll be glad to hear whatever it is that you have to say, okay?
Yes, sir. May I ask one question? The 10 days per violation, just from my understanding,
The what?
the 10 days in incarceration per violation, are those 4 different?
Every day, every violation of a court order. For example, if a person doesn't pay child support on a month, that's one violation. If they don't pay the next month, that's a second violation, even though they're the same type of thing. So if you had, for example, if it was proven that you had the children around Mr. Draper on one day and you had him around another day and another day, each one of those is potentially a different violation, and each one of those carries a potential of 10 days in jail.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that you understand those rights before we begin your testimonies. That I will state for the record, Mr. Holly, that I think there has been an explanation of her rights to her that's sufficient to advise her, and she will now offer whatever she wishes to.
So I'm free to speak, correct?
You are.
Okay. So going back to the mediation agreement, I did agree upon Vince's terms of the kids not being around Christopher Wilden for a year. Full disclosure, during that mediation agreement, he gave me 2 options. One was to own.
I would object to anything in the mediated agreement. As the court's well aware, that's all confidential, and nothing in the mediated agreement can be used in the court.
Mediation is, what happens in mediation by statute in the state of Tennessee is confidential and cannot be introduced in a court proceeding. So I have to sustain the objection.
So then I'll pivot how I'm explaining this. I agreed to those terms because Donna Tees and I had agreed to just get the divorce finalized. It had been a very tumultuous and traumatic last 6 months. We knew that if we did not mediate that day, we were looking at minimum another 6 to 12 months in the divorce proceedings. Quite frankly, I did not have the mental and emotional energy to go through another 6 to 12 months, let alone financially. And so, yes, I agreed to those terms so we could get the divorce. Right after that, Dawn and I had a conversation where she said, let the water simmer down, let things cool off. She said, let's take him back to custody court in 8 to 12 weeks. I can represent you as a custody attorney, and we will get that, for lack of better words, I don't know the lingo, but amended or whatnot. My conversations with Vince after the mediation is he said, don't worry, it's minimum going to be a year before I move back to Texas. And so in my mind, I thought it's very manageable for Christopher Wilden to not be in the home when I have the kids every other weekend and on Wednesday nights. But when he dropped the bomb on me a few days later that he was, for lack of better words, picking up and moving out of town so suddenly, which was devastating, quite frankly, I panicked. I contacted Donna. I said, how soon can we, remedy this? I could not afford a new retainer that quickly. And so I say all that to mean that's why I agreed to those mediation terms. Because in my mind, in the long game of it, I wanted the divorce to be finalized, but
And
I was
Judge,
prepared to go
I would
back.
object as to why she agreed to the mediation terms. That goes back to the formulation of the mediated agreement, and as the court knows, is all confidential.
Well, she's not quoting what was said in mediation. She's stating why she agreed to the terms, so overrule the objection.
As to the welfare visits, my master bedroom is right above the front door. I always sleep with the window open because there's no central AC or air up there. Not once have we, I'm not saying the officer did not show up, obviously she did, but not once have we heard any knocking, nothing like that. We have 2 dogs, they have not barked. As to the smell of marijuana, quite frankly, I don't want to incriminate anyone that I know, but people in that area smoke marijuana freely. And just because you smell it outdoors and outside, even though you claim it's on, once you walk up onto my front porch, does not mean it's all hearsay and speculation. It does not mean that it was from me. I do not smoke marijuana. That's all speculation. As to the voices that the officer heard, she herself said it sounded like it was coming from a basement or a back porch. I know on that night, I was upstairs in my bedroom. At 11:30 at night, I was asleep. I've been working 12-hour days, 6 days a week to try and pay for lawyer bills, everything like that. And so I think those things that they're bringing to the table are all speculation and hearsay. And there's no way that I can prove, or disprove what they're accusing me of. But even the screenshots that my ex-husband has with a neighbor saying that I walk around with a dog collar and we have so loudly, to be frank, and I don't mean to be crass, but I'm in the privacy of my own home. What I do in my private life, I feel like should not be brought up here in court when it comes to me being a good mother, when it comes to my relationship with my now fiance. We get married in 7 weeks. Me wearing this necklace that he's referring to at the ring, quite frankly, that's my own personal choice. I'm not going to go after someone if they're wearing jewelry of a religious nature or cultural nature. Like, that's something that's part of my private life. If I think there's a fine line between if someone agrees with how you live personally, they can have their opinions, but that should not factor into, am I a good mother? Am I safe around my children? I understand that there's a blatant violation of a court order, but to bring in all of this smoke and mirrors that Holly is doing, I don't think that that's ethical and right.
All right. Anything else?
Until he starts to question me? No, sir, I don't believe so.
Okay. Mr. Holly, you may cross-examine.
Ms. Valdez, first of all, Christopher Draper Wilden, is that his name?
Christopher Wilden.
Christopher
That is his legal
Wilden.
name.
Has he changed his name recently?
No, sir, he has not.
Okay. So you're familiar with February the 16th then as a visitation day for you to have the children?
Can you remind me if the 16th was a Wednesday or the following weekend?
I believe that was the Friday.
Okay.
Your
Yes.
divorce was finalized, I believe,
That
on the
was-
15th.
mhm.
And Mr. Valdez said, we'll start the visitation this week.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. And that was the 16th on that Friday.
Mhm.
And you took the kids at 6 p.m. on that day, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
And Mr. Wilden spent the night with you on that night, correct?
After the kids had gone to bed, yes, he spent the night with me. He did not have any contact with them that night.
Okay. So he was there on the 16th. What time did he get there on the 16th?
Oh gosh, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
And your testimony is the kids didn't see him on that day.
They did not know they were
But
in
he
bed.
was at the residence, correct?
Yes, he was.
Okay, and you're aware that's not supposed to happen pursuant to
Yes,
the
I am.
court order as well? He's not supposed to be on the residence when the children are present, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then moving forward to February the 17th, and the kids were there with you on that day, correct? I mean, they woke up that morning at your house, and they spent the entire day with you, correct?
Yes, they did.
And they went to bed at your residence that night, correct?
Yes, they did.
And Mr. Wilden was there that morning, correct?
Yes.
And he got up and he interacted with the children, correct?
He did not interact with them that morning. He woke up prior to anyone else waking, and he went to work that day.
Okay. What time did he get home?
I think 6:30.
Okay. And was he around the children at 6 or 6:30?
Yes, he was. We did crafts and we made ice cream sundaes. He was around them for about an hour until I put them to bed.
Okay. And you understand that as a direct violation of the court order, correct?
Yes, I do.
And then what time did you and Mr. Wilden go to bed that night?
Oh, goodness. He was exhausted. He had thrown out his back. So I'm thinking it was earlier, maybe 9:30, 10.
He had thrown out his back?
Yes, he had thrown out his back. So he was in a lot of pain.
Okay. So that night of the 17th, did you and he drink any alcohol?
I believe I had a Corona, yes.
Did he drink anything?
No, he did not. Just because he was in so much pain, he was on painkillers for the pain.
Okay. And what painkillers was he taking?
It's a Advil or Aleve dual action. That's
Is it
all.
a prescription
No,
medication?
you can get over the counter.
Was either one of you taking any narcotic on that day?
No, we were not.
Okay. So on the 16th, I'll ask the same question. When the children were there and you and Mr. Wilden were there, they were, according to your testimony, in bed. But did you have anything to drink that night?
I had some red wine, yes, up in my room.
Okay.
And he had Corona.
And he had a Corona? There were any illegals that night?
No, sir, there were not.
All right. So then on the 18th, which would have been that Sunday, I believe, the kids woke up and he woke up and they were again together with each other.
Yes, we had breakfast together.
Okay. And then for that day, was that the day that he took the oldest, what's your oldest name? Excuse me.
River.
River. Is that the day that he took River for a haircut?
No, I took River Saturday afternoon for a haircut.
Okay. And that was to the shop of Mr. Wilden?
Yes, that was the first time he met the children officially.
Well, now I'm confused because he played with them on the 17th, which was the day before. I'm asking about that
No,
Sunday.
I said he met them on the 17th, that afternoon, that Saturday.
Okay. But I'm talking about that Sunday, the 18th then. That's when you did the haircut?
No, I did the haircut Saturday, the 17th.
Gotcha. So on the 17th, then you took them from your home to his shop where he was working,
Yes,
and River got a haircut, and then you came back home, and Mr. Wilden came to your home then.
yes.
Okay. And then on the 18th, let's focus on the 18th. I got confused. There was no haircut on the 18th. That was the 17th. The 18th, the children got up. Mr. Wilden was there, correct?
Yeah, he was there for about 45 minutes with us. We had breakfast as a family, and then he went back to work.
Okay. And then what time did he arrive back at your home?
It was after I had dropped the kids off at Vince's.
So on the 16th, they were around Mr. Wilden.
They were under the same roof, but they were not around him.
On the 17th, they were around Mr. Wilden when you took them to the shop, and then when he returned later,
Yes,
they was around them again. And then on the 18th, they were around him as well, correct?
that morning, correct.
Okay. And you understand that to be pretty much a direct violation of the court order.
Yes, I do.
And why would you violate this judge's order in such fashion?
To speak candidly,
Go ahead.
the last 6 months have been utter hell. I've had my personal life and my character, my motherhood come into question. I understand it was not the wisest thing to break a court order. I do. I still don't regret it because Christopher and I are getting married. He wants to be a part of the kid's life. He would never hurt them, regardless of what's been accused. And for once, I felt like I was taking control.
All right, so you knew the kids were going to a Christian academy, correct?
Yes,
And you knew that haircut was going to be in violation of the dress code for the
I
children,
did not.
correct?
I did not. It was a Jesus cross that River requested, and maybe you can say my nativity. I thought it was Christian school, a Christian cross. Like, what's the big deal?
Why did you ever think to call Mr. Valdez to ask that question?
Quite frankly, no, because I genuinely did not think that would be in violation of any kind of dress code, a master barber cut.
You just weren't going to call Mr. Valdez and let him know that Mr. Wilden was around the children either, were you?
I told him the evening that we dropped off the kids, but no, I was not going to call him.
That was after River told that he was around Mr. Wilden, correct? You did not volunteer that to.
I knew that River asked me, he said, can I tell Daddy that I met Christopher Draper? And I said, yes, absolutely you can.
Why would you not have cleared that with Mr. Valdez before you did it?
I believe in speaking candidly, as you know, Mr. Hawley, from the last 6 months, quite frankly, because I don't like him.
You understand that the judge heard a lot of testimony at the temporary hearing, and he initially ruled it's the best interest of the kids that they were not to be around Mr. Wilden, correct?
Yes.
So you understand that there are good grounds, as far as that goes, to continue that into this final decree of divorce, correct?
Was that judgment on the judge on behalf of his felonious record or because of how tumultuous the marriage and everything had been? I think those are two distinguishing factors between why the judge thought it was not in the best interest for the children to be around Mr. Wilden.
Well, that would be a question, obviously, for the judge. But you understand the judge, hearing everything that everybody had to say that day, said that it's in the best interest that your children not be around Mr. Wilden.
I understand that.
And you understand that that was carried over into your final decree of divorce because that was what Mr. Valdez thought was still in the best interest of these children, correct?
Correct. Quite frankly, though,
And you agreed with that, did you not?
I did not. I have never agreed that it was not in the best interest of the children to be around Mr. Wilden. I think that there's a lot of pride and ego that goes into this on Vince's behalf, and he's leveraging his felonious past.
Do you remember signing the final decree of divorce and the parenting plan that was associated with that?
Yes, I do. I also
You
remember
signed
explaining
that-
why I
You
agreed to those
signed that
terms.
in your lawyer's office, Mrs. T's, correct?
Yes.
You had the benefit of counsel at that time, correct?
Mhm.
And you signed that parenting plan acknowledging that Mr. Wilden would not be around the children in any manner whatsoever for
Yes.
those 12 months, correct?
Yes.
And then at that point, it wasn't an automatic. It was that you could actually come in and file something if you felt like you were aggrieved in some manner at that point, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
It still wasn't that after 12 months, they could just have contact with Mr. Wilden. It was just going to be acceptable for you to file a
Yes.
motion or a petition, and you could come into court and ask the court to reevaluate the situation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But you didn't give Mr. Valdez or the court that opportunity when you just initially took the children and allowed them to have contact with Mr. Wilden, did you?
Yes, that's correct.
And you brought up a great word a minute ago. You said you were going to take control of the situation. In fact, wasn't it that when you took the river to go get that haircut, you're actually taking control and you're showing Mr. Valdez you're in control of the situation at that point?
I don't understand what you're saying.
You said it. You said that that was a matter of you taking control a minute ago. You remember saying that?
I was referring to me deciding to let the children meet my future husband.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to take control over that situation, are you not?
I made a decision, yes, and I own that.
And you made that decision taking control over that situation above what Mr. Valdez and you agreed to and above what the court actually ordered. Isn't that correct?
I think right now you're using my words in a twisted way to speculate something on my character, so I'm not going to answer.
So you heard an experienced officer testify today, Miss Officer Remendez, I believe it was. You heard her testify that she smelled a distinct odor of marijuana coming from your home on that Saturday, the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been in the hours of around 10 or 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And is it your testimony that you don't know where that came from?
I have speculations on where it came from, but based off of living in that neighborhood for the last 7 months, but I'm not at liberty to throw someone under the bus, what they do privately on their porch or in their home.
I want to know if you know where that came from, where it came from.
I can speculate where it came from, yes, but I am not going to expound on where I think that came from.
Well, Judge,
That's
if
not
she's
my
going to
place.
use this as a defense, I'm gonna ask the court to ask her to answer that question.
Why?
If she knows where it came from.
Why?
Because it's a violation of a court order, and it's the marijuana part with Mr. Wilden in the premises with the children.
It goes to her credibility, but I'm not going to force her to name some neighbor that she thinks is using marijuana. I'm not going to force that. So you've asked the question, she's answered it, and said claims it's not hers, even though the officer clearly stated that she was standing on the front porch of her house and smelled it. So it goes to credibility, but it does not require me to compel her to to implicate some other neighbor of that situation. I understand the reason why she wouldn't want to. She's given you her answer. It goes to her credibility.
So if I may, how far away is the closest house to your house then?
15 yards, maybe less.
And whose house is that?
I am not at liberty to say that.
All right. So are you saying that it came from another house or potentially from another person? Is someone on your porch smoking marijuana that you didn't know about? What are you saying?
I think that when you're outdoors and it's a windy night, a smell could come from anywhere, quite frankly, especially when the homes are as close as ours.
And the officer's testimony that she smelled it coming from your home then wouldn't be correct?
She said that when she approached our porch, that doesn't mean that she is accurate in knowing that it came from the living room or an upstairs window or a back porch. It's pure speculation.
And Mr. Wilden testified at the temporary hearing, again, as it carried over into your final decree, that he had used mushrooms.
Yes.
And that he was going to use them again, or something to that effect. Do you remember that testimony?
I do remember that.
And that marijuana, mushrooms, I believe what he testified to as to why he said it released what's in chamber in him. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
So do you understand why the court had concerns as well as Mr. Valdez and put this order in place?
I can see that, yes. Mm-hmm.
You testified earlier that this was going to be a situation where you were going to sign the final decree of divorce and then in a couple of weeks come back to court and try to fix everything that you had signed off on. Was that your testimony?
To fight it, yes. I just wanted to have the divorce certificate because that was the biggest thing.
Biggest thing because you want to hurry up and get married to Mr. Wilden, correct?
No, and we can get to these details during the other order that is on the docket, but the last 6 months have been tumultuous, to say the least. And until that divorce was signed, it was going to continue to be that.
And you're aware that in your divorce, you did allow for Mr. Valdez to move to Texas immediately, if that was the case.
Yes, there was an option for an immediate move, but he told me twice out of his own mouth. He said, don't worry, it's minimum going to be a year. I've got to sell the house. I got to find a job. I got to do all this. And then he dropped the bomb on all of us that he was moving in a matter of 3 to 4 weeks. I thought I would have a year to acclimate.
Ma'am, do you think that might have been because of the situation?
He was not prompted in any way during that time. I thought not only me, but my family, grandparents, would have a year to acclimate to that transition.
And on those 2 nights, again, your testimony is you never heard any knocking from the officer whatsoever.
Scout's honor, I did not, no. And truth be told, though, we also have neighbors that have told us they've knocked on our door, and I've just been in the restroom downstairs and I can't hear it. I don't know if it's the layout of the house or the age, but it's very hard to hear someone knocking at the front door.
And you heard her testimony that the way she knocked, that eventually there at the end, there wasn't much way that anyone in the house could not have heard that knock. You heard her testify to that?
Yes, and I agree with her logic, but at the same time, we also have 2 dogs, and not once did they bark, not once were they set off. Not saying she didn't knock, I'm just saying it's hard to hear someone knock on that front door.
The court ordered a drug test today. Would you pass it?
Yes, I would. I will say, though, to that effect, due to stress and actual hair loss because of stress, I have been taking legal CBD in my coffee for anti-stress, and I've also purchased legally distress gummies that have CBD in them.
The recording that you heard earlier, is that a fair and accurate depiction of what you told Mr. Valdez on
Yes.
that afternoon?
Yes,
And all of that is true and accurate?
yes, I said it.
You saw the picture that we introduced into evidence with your house and then a car and a van. Is that Mr. Wilden's van?
Yes, it is.
Can you recognize that as his van?
Yes, it is.
Can I have just a moment, Judge?
You may.
That's all I had, Judge.
All right, I'm going to allow her to go ahead and testify about her reasons why she wants to extend the order of protection. We're going to move now to your order of protection. So you had obtained an order of protection that I reviewed, and under the law, it is incumbent upon a judge who reviews an order of protection. If facts are alleged in that could constitute a grounds for an order of protection, then we err on the side of caution by issuing an order of protection. That order of protection was extended as only to Mr. Valdez rather than to the children themselves. But if you want to tell me why you feel like you need an order of protection from Mr. Valdez, I'll be glad to hear that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. My reasoning behind that is because ever since the September 23rd trial, social media has been stalked. There's been pictures taken of our vehicles, whether the kids are there or not there, in front of our homes.
Judge, I would object to the relevance of anything that would have occurred pre-divorce.
It's stalking. It's all accumulating to
Just a
stalking.
second.
You
It
know,
doesn't matter on an order of protection. The decree of divorce has nothing to do with an order of protection. They're two separate animals, and in my opinion, it does not preclude her from going into reasons why she would want an order of protection that might have existed prior to the entry of a final decree.
yes, sir.
Our home, my mother and Vince have driven past our homes countless times, taken pictures of vehicles.
Who has?
My mother and Vincent, my ex-husband, taken pictures of even Christopher Wilden's vehicle in a public setting in Kingston Springs. It feels like it's surveillance is being run on us, even when I don't have the kids. Like I said, we've had our social media stalked. I've had my former business, Giggles and Glam, stalked, where we've had pictures taken outside the business while I'm in there. It's been an accumulation of not feeling safe in my home. Like I don't have privacy. We've gotten blackout curtains because we feel like people are looking in our windows. And so for me to have peace of mind at my home, I want an order of protection to know that Vince or my mother cannot stand out in front of our home, park out in front of our home, run surveillance on us. I need that peace
I'm
of
not
mind.
considering anything regarding your mother because that's in a different
Yes.
court, if I understand correctly. It's only the question of whether or not that should be extended as to Mr. Valdez. All right. Anything else about that issue then?
No, sir.
Mr. Holly, you may cross-examine on this issue.
So you testified that your mother and Vince drove past your house. What dates did that happen?
I don't have specific dates, but I do have texts and emails from family members the next morning saying, we know that so-and-so was there
Well,
because,
you can't
but no, I
testify to
cannot
what
prove
somebody
that.
told you. I just want to know what you know, how you can prove. Do you have anything else, pictures, anything that would prove that your mother and Vince actually did drive by your home?
No, I have nothing to prove that. No hard evidence, just word of mouth.
And it's fair to say you and your mother had a relationship while you were kind of going through the divorce. You got estranged from each other, correct?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And that's because she was siding with Mr. Valdez against you in trying to protect these children. Is that fair and accurate?
I'm not at liberty to say. I think we'll get to that when her and I go to trial March 6th. That's between her and I.
Well, it's fair to say that was a topic.
That was a contributing factor, but her taking journal entries out of my home behind my back to use against me in court, I think that's a pretty unethical violation of trust and privacy.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Her removing journal entries from my personal home when I'm not there in order to use against me in a divorce trial, I think that's pretty unethical.
All right, so you said something about Mr. Wilden getting his vehicle, a picture taken in public settings. Were you in the vehicle at the time?
No, that instance I'm referring to
So
was
that doesn't
back
have anything to do with you at all, does it?
knowing that he's my future husband and he lives there. I think that has everything to do with me.
But you weren't in the van at all, and you weren't subject to any of the surveillance.
I was
so-called.
home at the time when these pictures were supposedly being taken.
And, I mean, Mr. Wilden has these bumper stickers on the back of his van, one that says free BJ's. Could you think people are taking pictures of that?
That was a prank from his friend who owns a mechanic shop. He went and got his van repaired, and they put those on his bumper without him knowing.
Well, now, to be fair, that's not his van. It was his mother's van.
And he
correct?
has purchased it, even though it's registered to her. He has purchased it, and that is his vehicle.
When did he purchase it?
He makes his final payment this month.
You said something about your social media being
Stalked.
stalked. But isn't it fair to say that social media is all public?
Yes, that's true. But when I have a private account and I have burner accounts, friend requesting me or trolling me on the internet based off of posts, after the September 23rd trial, whether it was him or Amanda Morell or someone, I don't know, it's all speculation, but someone made a YouTube video, submitted it to a court TV, smearing Christopher Wilden and I, and it went semi-viral locally. And we've had people come up to us on the street saying they think we're trash. We've had people dog us on social media. I mean, to me, that's social media. You're using social media to leverage against my defamation of character.
Well, I mean, you understand that the judge here in this court, everything here is on a YouTube channel for public consumption.
Yes, that's true. But when it's been edited and copy and pasted to make it look like we're saying something we're not, and the headline of the video is midlife crisis mom abandons children and runs off to party with felonious boyfriend, it's unethical. It's not right.
Well, you understand that was someone wholly unrelated to all the parties.
That's untrue, Mr. Hawley.
You're not familiar with the gentleman out in California that pulled this off the YouTube website and re-recorded it pretty much with what you just said. Are you familiar with that guy that's in California?
There's many renditions of that video online, not just one.
And it's got close to, what, 250, 300,000 views?
One of them, last time I checked, had over 100,000 views.
It could have been any of those folks, correct?
That's true.
Well, you're here today to get an order of protection and point the finger at Mr. Valdez about that. This is all his fault.
I think where there's smoke, there's fire. I think everything accumulates and adds up.
You testified about the Giggles and Glam business. There were some photographs that were taken outside of that
Yes.
business. And are you aware that those photographs showed actually the van of Mr. Wilden, that same van, out in front of Giggles and Glam? No, yes?
Yes, that's true.
And that the reason why that photo was taken was because the prior order said that Mr. Wilder was not to be anywhere near or have anything to do with the business.
So that was to...
You're familiar with that, correct?
I am, but you have it incorrect. That order was he was not to have anything with the operations Giggles and Glam. He was also not to be involved with being a stylist in the salon during business hours. That night, and it was about 10 p.m. when that picture was taken. That was taken because I was being sued out of the business. My business litigation lawyer, Ernie Gilks, advised me to go up there and remove anything that was not on the asset list, personal effects, whatnot. And so Christopher Wilden and I drove up there after hours at the advice of my business litigation lawyer saying it was legal to go remove personal effects, things that weren't on the asset list, like furniture and equipment. And so, yes, we were loading up his van.
And someone took a photograph of that, correct?
There was multiple people affiliated with Vince that were running surveillance on the store.
Ma'am, you don't have any proof that Mr. Valdez was out in front of that building taking those pictures, do you?
You also don't have any proof that it was me smoking pot upstairs in my bedroom. This is all purely speculation and hearsay. I didn't say I was smoking pot. I said, you have nothing to prove that I was.
Man, I don't, but you just said something
I'm not
about it.
saying I admit it. I'm saying it's pure speculation. It's all hearsay. You can assume something, but it doesn't mean it's right.
So you testified that people were looking in your windows.
I did not testify that people were looking in my windows. I said we were scared because of all the scrutiny we've been under and the judgment that I wouldn't put it past someone to look into my living room or my kitchen window to see what we were doing.
So
That's
this
how
is-
unsafe I feel in my home.
So this has nothing to do with Mr. Valdez. You're just looking at the public in general.
No, this has everything to do with Mr. Valdez and him contacting friends and family and defaming my character.
But do you have any proof that he ever went and looked in your windows?
No, I do not have any proof.
I have just a moment, Judge.
Right.
All I have, Judge.
Thank you. You may step down.
Ma'am, go ahead and have a seat back there.
Mr. Holly, you want to put on any proof? Do you have any other witnesses, Ms. Valdez, about the order of protection aspect?
No, sir, I do not.
Do you wish to put on any proof regarding the order of protection?
I would call Mr. Valdez to.
Valdez, I would remind you remain under oath.
All right. We've already had the introduction, Mr. Valdez, so let's jump right into it. So as far as stalking the residence of Mrs. Valdez, have you stalked the residence of Mrs. Valdez?
No, I haven't. I have not done surveillance on her house, nothing like that.
So how are you getting this information?
People literally will offer. I mean, the neighbor reached out to me out of nowhere. A friend of mine, without even my knowledge, went, and those photos she's talking about his van being parked down the street. A friend of mine went and did that on his own without even notifying me. A lot of people are very concerned about the children. I know that Leah is trying to make it out to be like I'm obsessed with her or something like that, but I'm literally moving to Texas next week. I've got a full-time job. I'm the primary parent of 3 children, got primary custody. I'm in the middle of moving. I don't have time to stalk my ex-wife. I as far as my cares for her, I care for her as far as the mother of my children. I want her to be healthy, and I want her to that aspect, but I'm not obsessed with her or her boyfriend in any way, other than I just want to make sure my kids are safe.
Do you admit, or would you deny any of the allegations that she has said?
Yeah, I mean, almost all of them. I mean, I also think it's kind of telling that if she was so scared, why did she wait until 2 days after I got this restraining order put in place to get this order of protection? If I was stalking her so incessantly, why would you wait until a week before I leave the state permanently to file a order of protection on me? That I'm like, what am I mean, I'm literally me and the kids are set to move to Texas. The kids are registered in school down there. I have a lease signed for a house down there. Everything is set in place for us. Family are there with a mule train ready for us. I mean, I am, the only thing I can see from that is that Leah has a lot to hide, and she's I guess upset that people are calling her out on the things that she's done.
These people that are calling her out, have you directed any of them to do any of that initially?
No.
And you said all these people have just reached out to you.
Yes.
Did you have people reach out to you because of the YouTube videos?
Yes, I put all my social media stuff on private just because I was having so many people reach out. Now, granted, they were very kind messages, but I still don't want random people just looking at my kids and stuff. And I'm sure Leah's experienced that as well. It might be the opposite, but yeah, I have had a lot of random people reach out. I think people, no matter how Leah wants to cloud the waters on how tumultuous the last 7 months have been, I have not threatened Leah. I mean, she states in the order of protection that I've threatened her. She also states that I have told her she's never going to see the kids again. That's not true. In fact, she told me that. It was played in court here for Judge Wolf on our last trial. I have never said any of those things. I never speak ill of Leah to our children because that is their mother. Any of those things that she's saying is not true.
So we talked about stalking her home. You've denied that. Have you Have you tracked any of her vehicles?
No, I don't have the time to go and track her vehicles. Like I said, I'm juggling 3 kids, a full-time job, and a move to Texas right now, and I don't have time to go follow her places. If I was doing it, I'd have to do it with my 2-year-old.
Have you hacked into any of her emails?
No, I have not.
Have you contacted any of the clients? She says my businesses and contacted clients of mine, spreading lies in order to hurt my company.
No, I have
you
not.
done that?
No.
She talks about that photograph that people were taking.
One of her employees
Explain
took that.
that.
Yeah, one of her employees took it because Leah and Mr. Wilden were taking items from the business. Amanda Morrell is ready to testify as well, but she was taking things out of the business. The police showed up, made her put the stuff back into the business that she was taking from the business. That's when we lost it.
She wasn't happy about that at all.
No, I mean, she also accuses me of being the reason we lost the business, even though Judge Wolf put her fully in charge of the business. And
the business is defunct.
It is.
You have a large government loan.
Yes, I'm going to have to file bankruptcy because of this. I mean, Leah's accusations of me benefit me, they do not benefit me in any way. If anything, they hurt me and the kids. I'm having to come to court again in the middle of a move. As much as I appreciate your representation, I'm having to pay you again in the midst of supporting 3 children while Leah does not pay child support for the first year.
I got this affidavit says a window was busted during the night to one of my vehicles.
Yes.
That's what Mrs. Valdez filled out. Have you busted any of the windows to any of her vehicles?
No, and she also accuses her mother of the same thing. So I don't know if, I'm not trying to be smart aleck or anything, but I don't think both of us were elbowing her window at the same time. But no, I did not bust any windows. She also says that apparently I was shooting guns in her backyard or something on that.
She said, I will do whatever it takes to take the children from you and you will never see them again. Have you told her that?
No, I have not.
She says that she fears for her life when home alone, as we know he is in possession of pictures he's taken of her vehicles, home, and business day and night. Is there a reason she should fear for her life because of any pictures?
No, I mean, again, I've never threatened Leah. I am honestly exhausted dealing with this. I want, Leah also says that I told her it would be a year before we moved. I didn't say that. I said it could be up to a year because I have to find a job. Now, granted, my work and everything really fell into line really fast. At first, I thought maybe I was moving too soon. Now, with everything that's going on, I wish I would have moved faster. But I want the kids to thrive. That is my main goal. My children, before all this happened, were doing ballet and soccer and all those things. As a single parent of 3 children, I don't have the time to do all of that. And so I want to be around a support system that can have my children thrive. I want them to have a better childhood than I had, and I had a great childhood. But every parent wants their kids to have a great childhood, and that is my goal into moving to Texas.
All right. So she says too that he, meaning you, has extensive firearm training and is in possession of an AR-15 that has an illegal silencer modification for sniper rifling, and she fears walking out to her car.
Yeah, well, I do have
Do you have extensive firearm training?
Yeah, the extensive firearm training is the only thing in there that is true. I do a lot of training and do a lot of training at Oral Range. I do a lot of training with cops. I shoot USPSA pistol competitions. That being said, I do everything I do is legal. I don't have any criminal record. I've never had so much as a speeding ticket in my life. I do everything I own is registered. If it's an NFA item, I have a tax stamp for it. I don't have any illegal items.
You talked about competing with a lot of officers at one of the competitions.
I've done some training with officers over at Royal Range, and we did a red dot class once. It was me and like 18 police officers, and there was just a friendly competition at the end. Whoever won the little competition got a trip from the range, and I beat the police officers. Not to say I could beat you guys, but I beat those guys.
And if that order of protection is granted, that would take away your right to have a firearm, correct?
I guess so. I mean, I don't know why Leah would want that. I mean, I'm moving to Texas. I want the ability to be able to, I don't have a criminal record. I want the ability to be able to protect my children if I need to.
Would that be a detriment to you if you couldn't have a firearm and be able to do some of the hobbies that you like to do and the things you like to do?
At this point, that's the only hobby I do. But more importantly, more than hobbies, the Second Amendment is important to me as an American citizen, but also as a father. I've never threatened Leah, never brandished a weapon or anything.
She says, we know he runs surveillance of my home at night. And do you deny or admit that?
I do not run surveillance at her house, no.
And quite frankly, the neighbor is the one that's been reaching out to you and giving
Yes,
you
the
this
only reason
information.
the only reason I even knew to call the police on the 16th and the 17th is because the neighbor reached out to me.
And you didn't initiate that, did you?
Before she reached out to me, I did text her on the 16th and I just said, hey, I'm dropping the kids off. That's basically it. I mean, she did reach out to me again on the 16th and the 17th to let me know that his van was parked out front. Ultimately, I didn't even really need it though, because Leah willingly, owns up to, or said to me that she was defying the court order.
He also has followed us during the day to public places by evidence of pictures he's taken of our vehicles.
Have
you done that?
I don't even know what that's referring to. No, I don't follow them to public places. Again,
she talks about stalking the social media. Do you admit or deny you've ever stalked her social media?
No, I do not stalk her social media.
She goes on about the business here, about shutting down that brick and mortar business of Giggles and Glam. And we've already talked about that. You said that was something that she was in control of.
Yes, absolutely.
And the business did go defunct, and there wasn't a thing you could do about it, was there?
Yeah, no, I mean, Amanda Morell, I think, is on the Zoom ready to testify to that. Again, I would like to say that.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah,
Let's
sorry,
finish
yeah,
this up.
sorry.
I'm going down her affidavit.
Yeah.
We heard gunshots on our property behind our back porch.
Mhm.
Have you ever been anywhere around her house and shot off a gun?
No, I have not.
Would you ever do that?
No, sir.
That's all I have.
Ms. Valdez, you're acting as your own attorney. Do you have any questions on the order of protection that you wish to ask this witness?
No, sir, I do not.
All right, thank you. Step down, sir. All right, we've concluded all of the evidence in the case, Mr. Hawley.
Judge, the only thing I have is if you have any question at all about the business being an issue, the franchise owner is here to describe how the business went.
Well, we're going to deal with the last thing first. I'm not going to extend this order of protection because I don't think that the proof has substantiated grounds for showing that Mr. Valdez is the person who has created a situation where Mrs. Valdez is a victim of domestic abuse, which is required in an order of protection. However, to satisfy, and not satisfy, but to ensure that there's not any problems, what we will do is just put an order down that neither of these parties will stalk the other, neither of them will follow the other or have others do so on their behalf. And that way he can't have someone else follow you, spy on you, or do any such thing as that. And that will give you hopefully at least the satisfaction of knowing there is a court order down, and if it's violated, it will be dealt with. Second issue is about the order orders which was issued, a restraining order that was issued, and court is very leery of issuing orders that on an ex parte, which means without a hearing, to suspend court order visitation. In this particular case, I would remind everyone involved that there was a hearing and there was testimony, even by Mr. Wilding, who testified before the court, and the court formed my own opinions about his character and veracity and whether or not he was a good influence or a bad influence on minor children. And for that reason, the court put an order down that he was to have no contact with the minor children. Then while that case has been pending, but I left, I think, if I recall correctly, an equal residential schedule with the children for both of them. While that case was pending, the parties went to mediation, and as a result of that mediation, for whatever reason, they agreed upon a final decree of divorce and a parenting plan that designated Mr. Valdez as the primary residential parent for the minor children and gave Mrs. Valdez visitation with the minor children on a period of 275 days with the father, 90 days with the mother. And it went on to say that the mother would have visitation, would have summer and holiday visitation and other visitations in Section J if the father relocates to Texas. Then it goes on to say, and I don't know who printed this off, but I started to tell them not to allow it to be filed because it's printed on every other, on the back side of the pages. So as a result, the court then, or the parties agreed upon some holiday visitation and so forth. And if I recall correctly, I'm trying to find the day-to-day schedule if he didn't move. In any event, one of the reasons we don't print on both sides of a page.
I did the order and I sent it to Ms. Tees. I don't think she's familiar with the courts.
Section J on page 3, other, and it says the father is allowed to relocate to Texas with the party's minor children. 2, until such time as the father relocates to Texas, the mother shall have every other weekend from Friday at 6 to Sunday at 6. And on alternate week, the mother shall have Wednesday after school until Thursday morning, returning to school, and this shall terminate if the father relocates to Texas. Then paragraph 3, the mother shall not allow, shall not allow the minor children to have contact with Christopher Ryan Wilding, also known as Christopher Draper, the mother's paramour, and Mr. Wilden will not be present on the residence premises of the mother during her visitation with the minor children. Neither party shall consume alcohol in excess. The mother shall not consume any herbs that might be considered to be illegal. Number 6, the mother shall have the right to file a petition with the court seeking the removal or modification of the restriction relating to Christopher Ryan Wilden's, also known as Christopher Draper's, contact with the minor children, subsequent to the expiration of 12 months from the entry of the final decree of divorce. In order for this restriction to be modified, the mother must prove a material change of circumstances, and the issue of Mr. Wilden's background shall not be res judicata. Well, as was pointed out, those were terms that were agreed to, for whatever reason, by Ms. Valdez. I didn't put those in there. She and Mr. Valdez put them in there. And so once I signed that final decree, which was signed by the court on February the 15th of 2023, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't even realize, I have stacks of orders that I'm presented with. I didn't make the connection between signing this final decree and that case, in this case. But in any event, I signed the final decree and it became a court order effective that day. Court orders are not orders that a person can decide they don't want to violate, that they want to violate, and simply because they don't want to do what the court order says. One thing that I will simply, this is not the order for the motion for contempt, but I'm concerned, Ms. Valdez, that you do not understand the gravity of your situation. You made a statement, and I wrote it down because it's going to come back to haunt you. You still don't regret violating the court's order. That is part of what will happen at the sentencing hearing. Mr. Hawley is going to replay that over and over again, because one of the factors that the court will have to decide as to whether, how much time to give you and what punishment to impose is your attitude regarding whether or not you show any remorse over violating a court order. In addition to that, it also causes the court to question whether you ever intend to violate, whether you intend to comply with the court's orders in the future. So every time that you violated a court order, and I counted 3 or 4 times minimum, is 10 days in jail. There is a specific statute that allows for consecutive sentencing that in certain cases, one of those is whether it's a violation of a domestic custody order. So you are facing jail time. And I heard your voice say on that no judge is going to put a mom in jail. You are wrong. I've put women in jail before. I've sentenced women to life in prison for a murder. It doesn't bother me. I mean, it does bother me. I don't like to do it. But when you come back for the sentencing in this case, you can expect you're going to go to jail for some period of time. And that may be 10 days. That may be 40 days. That may be 50 or 60 days. That depends on what the situation is and what your attitude has been then. But it was, in my opinion, a terrible, and I tried to give, that's the thing I don't understand. I tried to give you the leeway to not implicate yourself with such testimony. I tried to allow you the leeway to say, I don't want to have to testify if I might implicate myself. But all you've done, I don't know if you think you're smart enough that you can talk your way out of it, or if you think the reasons you give are compelling enough, but they aren't, and you aren't. And as a result of that, you are now facing an extended period of jail time. And Mr. Wilpin may come to visit you in jail, I suppose, when that sentencing comes around. But it's pretty much a foregone conclusion now on this motion for contempt as to what the court's finding is going to be as to whether or not you willfully divide. That's the other thing. I have to find you in willful contempt. That means you willfully violated a court order. Well, you pretty well solved that issue for me too, because when this case comes back before me, you've already told me you willfully defied a court order and you don't regret doing it. So it is an unfortunate situation that you find yourself in. The hearing that I have today is only about the issue of a restraining order, and based on what I've found that you have willfully violated a court's order that you agreed to, and that you are showing no indication of remorse or that you even think that was a bad decision on your part to violate that court order that number of times, I have no choice but to continue this order of restraining and suspending the visitation schedule that was previously imposed. She will have supervised visitation at such times and places that she and Mr. Valdez can agree. Other than that, her visitation is suspended pending the hearing on the motion for contempt. I would strongly urge you to get counsel to represent you, and I would strongly urge you to comply with everything that this court has put in an order before, because you are not free to deviate from a court order under any circumstances. So.
May I ask 2 questions, please, Your Honor? First, when is the...
You have 30 days from the date you were served to file an answer, so that hearing has not even been scheduled.
How do I file an answer?
You take the document that was filed called the motion or petition for contempt, and you go through it and you answer it in writing under oath, and you either admit or deny those allegations that are in there. And then you file that with the clerk and serve a copy of it on Mr. Holly.
And then how do I go about seeing if I qualify for that?
Well, you would need to fill out an affidavit of income and expenses, and I will then make a determination whether or not that you are qualified. So.
And where do I access that?
From the clerk's office, you can get it. You have one in your office?
Yes, sir.
All right. Clerk's and master's office can give you that. So.
And is that where I also file?
That's the same place you'll file your answer to the petition for contempt.
Okay.
She has supervised visitation, as Mr. Valdez can arrange. I assume Mr. Valdez will be liberal in that visitation, because I don't get the impression he's interested in denying her the opportunity to see the children. But, and I don't, let me say this. I almost stated something that was not even a permit. I've had a lot of smoke blown at me, but I don't really have to have anyone tell me that the officer, who is a very credible witness, was just imagining that she was smelling marijuana from another household. So you may want to think about getting test before you come back for the contempt hearing as well, because that's also going to be something that likely will take place, is testing from both parties.
I'll address the court briefly. The supervisor,
Pardon?
the supervisor, is it something we can both agree to? I mean, if we both agree to a supervisor, because if he goes to Texas, it'd have to be
If they
her
can agree
mother.
on a supervisor, then yes, that's what it is. That supervisor will need to be under the court's jurisdiction to enforce that Mr. Wilpin is not to have any contact with him and abide by the court's order. So,
There wouldn't be any other way to do that except to bring him to court, or can we get an affidavit from that person be sufficient?
bring him in tomorrow. I've got to be here tomorrow. I got to be here Thursday for a jury trial on an existing arrest, I think is what it is. And Friday, I have motions in that quarter-century case regarding the constitutionality of that. So I'm here all week. So if you bring the person in or bring an affidavit that they are willing to serve as supervisor and will comply with the orders of the court, then that will be sufficient.
All right, folks, buckle up because this courtroom just hit peak drama. We've got a mother revealing the raw, emotional aftermath of a divorce, a child breaking down mid-testimony, and tensions that could make anyone's head spin. Today's case isn't just about custody or finances, it's about family chaos, betrayal, and shocking revelations you won't believe. Stick around as we break down every jaw-dropping moment, analyze legal decisions, and ask the big questions: who's really looking out for the kids here, and who's playing games? You do not want to miss this one. Here's a critical moment. The child literally breaks down in the car after hearing that his mother is leaving. From a legal standpoint, this is heartbreaking but expected. Courts are deeply interested in a child's emotional stability when making custody decisions. Notice how quickly the mother transitions to showing the child comfort and distraction. This is actually a strong point in her favor, demonstrating she can manage trauma and maintain stability. But let me ask you, could this rapid emotional shift mask deeper long-term stress for the child? Comment below what you think. Should the court consider this coping strategy a positive or a potential red flag? Brace yourselves, mushrooms are now in play. She admits to a one-time experimental use, gifted by a friend, with her boyfriend present, while the kids were 18 miles away. Courts will take note. Recreational substances can be a serious red flag in custody cases. Yet, she insists it was safe, controlled, and not a recurring habit. From a commentary standpoint, this raises eyebrows, not just legally, but ethically. Could this single experiment influence a judge's perception of parental judgment? And let's be real, the audience, experimenting with hallucinogens while juggling business and childcare? That's the definition of high-stakes drama. Now we get to the custody heat. She's making a clear argument. She's been the main caretaker for 8.5 years, overseeing education, medical needs, and overall well-being. Her ex, meanwhile, hasn't been the primary rearer. But here's the twist: she admits custody hasn't been exactly 50-50, giving the husband slightly more access due to her work schedule. Legally, this is a gray zone, and judges will weigh routine stability versus parental presence. Audience, think about it. Is providing consistent care more important than equal time, or should 50-50 always be the goal? Drop your opinions below. Wow. If this hour alone didn't make your head spin: boyfriend chaos, business drama, emotional breakdowns, substance experiments, and custody disputes, it's clear this courtroom saga is just getting started. The key takeaways: she demonstrates strong financial independence, long-term childcare, and crisis management, but there are undeniable risks and controversies in her personal life. Courts will weigh all of this carefully. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.